Alright, hey guys, this is Max from Pure Power Solar, and today we're going to be going over the EcoFlow Delta 1300 versus the River 600. So these are some pretty drastically different models in terms of size and power output, but they're a pretty popular topic, and since the River 600 was a recently released portable power station from EcoFlow, I think it would be a good idea to compare the two and just give you a general idea and specific ideas on what exactly is different between these two systems. So for the agenda, well, first off, on the right-hand side is the EcoFlow Delta 1300, and then on the left-hand side here is the smaller River 600. For this video, we're going to be going over the specifications and features for the majority of the video, I'd say about 80%, and then at the end I'll pick a winner and I'll give you reasons why, and then I will also give you more information on some other articles I have on my website that may give you some more ideas if you're looking for a smaller or larger portable power station or solar generator for whatever you may need it for. First off, we'll go into the port section, and this is just a short table from my article comparing these two systems, and I just want to give you an overview of both of these systems before we get more specific. And first off, we have here on the left hand side the Delta 1300, and then of course the 600 on the right. So battery capacity, you can see immediately, is much a total difference. Now with the River 600, which we'll talk about this feature in a second, but you can get an additional battery that has a twice the power of this, so 576 watt hours of energy in the battery. It's an attachment with an expandable battery basically. So you can get up to 576 watt hours with the system with that extra battery. That actually turns this into not just the 600 but the River 600 Max is what they call it. And then there's a version that is a step beyond that. I don't have a ton of information on that on this video, but I encourage you to look that up if you're interested in that. However, the EcoFlow Delta, the 1300, is still a much bigger system regardless of the larger battery or not, at 1260 watt hours. So I consider this, in the grand scheme of portable power stations, a medium, maybe a medium large solar generator, the 1300, because of the battery size. And then looking at the inverter size, we could see that the Delta 1300 has an 1800 watt continuous inverter with a 3300 watt surge, which is a very high number, especially for this size. If you've seen any of my past videos on the Delta 1300 or any comparisons, I say the same thing, where the inverter is very impressive. And then that's equally impressive with the River 600 here, with 600 watts continuous and then even an 1800 watt surge. Now, I actually changed this exact table on my website because I looked in the manual for the River 600, and I also checked their website, and on the manual and then on one part of their website it has 1200 watts of surge power, and then on a different part of their website it says 1800 watt surge. Now, I've also checked a couple videos on this exact comparison, but more specifically with the River, and people are saying that you can get up to 1800 watts of surge, and I'm hesitant to say that, and that's why I changed this to 1200 on my website, because this system is already very small, and 1800 watts of surge power seems like it could really damage the system. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I don't have this product. However, I'm going to keep it at 1200 watts surge. So that's just in case maybe you need that 1200 watts, but I'm going to play it safe. And regardless, that number is still very high for this size of a system. 288 watt hours for a portable power station. To have even 600 watts of continuous power is outstanding. That's a very high number. And if you compare this to other models that are a similar size range in terms of battery, then you're going to really see what I'm talking about. Not many can get up to 600 continuous and 1200 surge power. And then life cycle, very important piece of any power station you consider getting. The Delta 1300 has 800 cycles to 80% capacity, which means it could run through the battery 800 times and then have 80% of the battery still in use, or still be able to use 80% of that entire battery capacity. Now for the EcoFlow River 600, we have 500 to 80%. This is very standard, especially amongst Goal Zero and Jackery solar generators. It's not a great number, but it is probably the average for most lithium-ion batteries. So that is what you'll see with the 600. And then the weight difference is clearly different. Now this has to do mainly with the battery. So 31 pounds for the Delta 1300 and then 11 pounds with the River. Now the number of output ports, or just output ports, 13 with the Delta 1300. We're going to be going into the ports in a second. And then the River 600 has 10. So let's go ahead and talk about the different ports. So the River 600 has, we'll start with the front. So a nice model here. Let me see if I can get a better scope. Okay, so we can see that it has a nice LCD screen, but the ports here, we'll start with the USB ports. We have a USB-C capable of 100 watts of output power on the left. That's the only USB-C on the system. In the middle, we have two USB-As. I believe they're capable of 12 watts. I think I have that in a later slide here, but standard USB-As in the middle, and then a fast charge USB-A on the right-hand side. Now we'll get into the right-hand side here. So we have a single carport output, and then we have two other different DC outputs. They have a specific name to them, which I will cover. However, I'm not exactly sure if these are the standard 12-volt ones that you'll see on some other systems that you can maybe plug into a 12-volt fridge or something like that. But it has all of these ports on the front. Now, if I go back here, let's go ahead and look at the side of the system, and we'll see that there's three US-style AC ports. I'm not sure about the UK version. I'm guessing there's two on the side since they're bigger ports. However, we have three AC ports, which is very nice for a system of this size. I would say this is definitely above average for this size of the system. Oh, and then I'll actually go back here and show you the charging section. So for these ports, we have the AC charging with the three prongs right here. I'm not exactly sure what this middle portion is, and it looks like this is a the yellow part is a solar panel connection, but I'm actually not sure about these two inputs. I'm sure one of them, or maybe both of them, are for the car charging section. So you'll have to check the manual for that, or just look into their website, or maybe another review on YouTube for that. However, solar is the yellow, and then AC is this left portion. So that's the River, and those are just the ports there. But now we'll get into the Delta, and then we'll see some differences here, but not too many differences in my opinion. We have two USB-As standard on the left. We have two fast charge USB-As on the right, and then we have two USB-Cs right here, but both of them are 60 watts maximum. Now that's still a great number. However, the EcoFlow 600, the River, has that one that is capable of 100 watts. So that's something to keep in mind. I know USB-C technology is very important nowadays. So that's what you have there. Now on the back of the system, we have 6 AC ports. And in the UK version, or just the European version, I guess, you have 4 outputs. So US version is 6. That's a very high number, and that's usually the most you see on any solar generator is about 6 US AC ports. And then we have a car outlet right here. And then on the side of the system, you have a very similar setup here with the solar charge on the left, and then we have the AC charging in the middle, and then the car charging on the right. So that's very simple. It's very standard with portable power stations. You usually see them having those 3 options. Now we'll get into the port analysis, which will talk about the differences and similarities between the two. So for the Delta, we have one more USB-C, but the USB-Cs for the Delta are 60 watts maximum. It's still a great That's still a great number in terms of wattage. You don't usually see a 100-watt USB-C, at least in the current day. So the River definitely has the advantage on the more powerful USB-C port. Then we have the AC inverter. We can see the Delta has 1800 watts continuous, 3300 watts surge, which is a very high number, as I've mentioned. And then the River still is a high number for its size, but it is a lot less at 600 and 1200 surge. We have one more USB-A quick charge port with the Delta, and then 3 more AC ports with the Delta. And then there's the car output port is actually 30 watts greater in the River. Looking into their manuals and the specification side in the EcoFlow website, the output is 30 watts greater with the River. So if you're really thinking about charging your system from the car and you're really heavy set on that, then go ahead and, I would probably consider this option since you're going to get a faster charge. And then here we have the DC outputs that are only available on the River. It's called the DC5521. I've never seen this number after the DC ports. Usually you just see a 12-volt DC port, so maybe this is a proprietary port with the River. However, you will have to do a little research on that if you're really looking to use these ports. But there's 2 of them, and then you can see the different volts and amperage right there per port. And then what I didn't mention here is that both of them have the same USB-A ports. You have 2 of them for each system. Alright, so those are the ports. And then we'll get into charging. Another obvious, if you know these systems, you know that charging is extremely important. Charge times, all that. So with the River 600, you'll see that we'll start with the methods. So we clearly have the car, AC, and then solar panel charging. But then full recharge time for AC is 1.6 hours. This is, I think, the best in the entire industry for this size of a system. I don't think you'll see anything like this for 300 watt hours or less for a portable power station. Now, full recharge time from the car adapter, 3 hours. That's very fast. I'll show you the Delta in a second, and you'll see a pretty drastic difference there. And then 1.6 to 3 hours using the 200 watt maximum solar input. The reason why they have the 2 times 110 watt is to count for efficiency losses. So that's pretty awesome. These are all really relatively good times. Obviously the car is a little slower, but for AC and solar, we are looking at some pretty awesome charge times. Now for the different input ports, we have Extreme. Now Extreme, if you don't know EcoFlow, we have, or EcoFlow has, I think, patented this terminology. It basically just highlights their AC charging and how they have extremely fast AC charging. For both of these systems, it's probably the best in the industry currently. We have a 250 watt maximum charge input. Then we have the AC charge voltage. You can check all that out if you're interested in that. I'm not going to go over that. But the solar charge input is 200 watts maximum, and then you have the different specifications there for volts and amps. Then the car charger right here, 120 watts. Okay, now we'll get into the Delta, and you'll see a few differences here. Not with the charge method, because that's pretty basic and standard, but the full recharge time is actually the same. And we'll get into the different, how the AC charging is the same when the battery for the Delta is, what is that, 4 times? Yeah, it's 4 times the size of the standard River 600, so it gets the exact same amount of charge time from the AC ports. I'll talk to you about that in a sec. And then we have 10 to 12 hours from the car adapter, which is a lot more than the actual, than the River 600. So that's something to really think about. If you are using your car to charge this a lot and you're on the road and you want to use this system, maybe this is a factor that will maybe sway you towards the River instead of this system. That's a pretty long time, especially compared to these other numbers. We can see that there's a 4-hour recharge time, and that is the maximum, or the fewest amount of hours that you'll get when you use the 440 watts of solar panels, their own solar panels, then it's counting for some efficiency losses. So I would say maybe 4 to 6 hours, because it always depends on the angle of the panel, what kind of cloud coverage do you have, if anything. So 4 hours though is the best you can get with this system, and that's really good for a large over 1,000 watt hour system. Now we'll talk about the input ports, and this is why the AC charging is the same with both systems. We saw that there was a 250 watt AC charging input for the River 600, but with this one it's a 1200 watt max, and this is a crazy high number. This is very high, and so that's really what makes this system charge so fast. You won't see this with several other systems. Now the Goal Zero X series, they're 6000X, the top tier model. I actually made a video on that recently. You can check that out if you want. But that model is 6071 watt hours, 5 times the amount of power that the Delta has, and it has a 600 watt AC charger, and that is considered a pretty good charger. That's a lot of power. It's going to charge that system, and I think in about 10 hours. Still very fast, relatively speaking. But this one does it with 1200 watts. Now this is a sort of a warning though, with something that is this powerful to charge your system. This could affect the battery's life cycles, because when you are charging something at such a high rate, such high energy, you're going to have a lot of heat, and the heat may cause the system to over time degrade a little faster, or maybe a lot faster, than another system that charges slowly. It is a definite like sort of give and take with the amount of high-speed charging versus the longevity of the system, because personally I would want the convenience of something that charges fast. However, I'd also want to be conservative on how often I charge via AC, if it's always at 1200 or something around that amount of power, because I want this system to last as long as possible, but I don't want to wait forever to charge it up. So think about that if you're considering getting this system. You may be suffering or sacrificing some life cycles if you're going to always charge this from the AC port, just due to that massive amount of power coming into the system. Then you have the voltage and other information there. The solar charge input is 400 watts maximum. Pretty nice number for a system of this size. And then the car charger is a standard 12 or 24 volt, 10 amp. So overall, pretty slow car charging, but then again, you're also charging slower, which helps the system to last longer. So something to think about. I think the majority of people are going to be using the system for AC charging and solar charging. So if you're that small portion of the audience watching that is charging from the car, think about the other system, because that will charge a lot faster. Maybe that'll save you a lot of stress from waiting so long to have that thing charge up. And then overall, we'll just analyze the similarities and differences. So we have the AC charging 1.6 hours from the wall for both systems. That's awesome, very nice. But then again, think about the longevity of the system when you have something charging that fast. And that goes for both of these systems. From the car charger, we could see the River is much faster from the car. Then we have solar. We have the Delta, which is twice as fast, or it has twice the solar input, but the battery is about 4 times the size. So it actually is not, relatively speaking, if you're thinking about the solar input divided by the battery capacity, the River wins that section because it is faster, first and foremost, but it also can take a good amount of solar. But the Delta is still relatively fast compared to other portable power stations in the industry. Something to think about. And then we already talked about the Delta being 4 times bigger in terms of battery. So both systems still charge faster than solar. However, the River does have a much faster solar charge time, and then a much faster car charge time. All right, now let's get into the other specifications now. So these are the other specifications that are not really the main factors of each system. Now, they might be main factors to you, but for me, these are just some of them are cool features, some of them are important features, and then so these will all be different aspects for particular people who want a customized system. The River 600 has a lot of things, as you can see. We have the flashlight, so that's on the front of the system. So maybe you'll need that, maybe you won't. I don't see that being a really big need for people, since you could just use your phone or a normal flashlight for this, but it's there. A big factor, I think, for most people will be the application that is available with the River 600. This is not available with the Delta. The app allows you to use the system from your phone, and that allows you to look at your usage history. You could set different modes, such as the quiet mode, which is right here. So the app is definitely something to think about if you're using this mostly for your house. Then we have the quiet mode, which allows you to basically just have the system quiet. You can turn the fans on and off. Now that's important because maybe the fans are loud. I'm not sure how loud the fans are on the River, but having a quiet mode might be something you would want for certain times of the day. Maybe, for example, you are using this system to power some like filming lights. I don't know exactly what they're called, but if you are filming something and you're powering these systems off the grid with this, then you want to have it on quiet mode so that it doesn't mess with the audio. That's just one example of several scenarios that you could use this for. Then you could also turn the Extreme on and off. Now this is a very, I'm going to say not a lot of people really think about this one. We talked about how the extremely fast AC charging could affect the overall life and longevity of the power station, because when you have so much power coming in, that could use heat, and that could also just overall affect how many life cycles you really get with the system. If you have the ability to turn Extreme on and off, and so you don't need to rush to charge this system from the wall, then this will charge it at a slower pace and then protect the battery for more life cycles, or to protect that life cycle of 500 to 80% capacity. So that is a really cool feature, and both of these, quiet mode and the Extreme turning on and off, not available in the Delta 1300. I believe both of these modes, or these abilities, are available through the application. So that's why the app is so important. Next, and this comes in another customized sort of deal, we have the extra battery you can add that doubles the battery capacity to 576 watt hours total. Now this is a external battery that attaches to the bottom of the standard River 600, but if you're looking to actually get the battery already included with the River 600, so you get that total just under 600 watt hours, that's called the River 600 Max, and that's available on, I believe, Amazon and EcoFlow's website. So that's also a customized feature. And then also, if you want to take that external battery off, if you have it, to be more portable, you're going to save a ton of weight, and that just allows you to use it for more things or activities. Next here we have the price. So the price of just the standard River 600 is $350. I checked Amazon for these, so it might be different on EcoFlow's website. $350, and the extra battery is $250. I already checked for the River 600 Max to see if maybe you could save some money if you bought the system with the extra battery already included. They're the same price. They're both $600, whether you get it with the battery or you buy the single system, just a standard River, and then the external battery. So next we have the price for the Delta 1300. We have it at $1,800, and I found this was also on Amazon, so that might fluctuate. Okay, and then what is the same? We have a few things. So the display screen is the same. They are both really intuitive systems. They give you how much time left is in your charge to a fully charged battery. You get the input and the output wattage, and then probably some other features there, as well as warning signals just in case your system malfunctions. There's several different signals there, but overall it's a very good display screen for both systems. They're identical. The AC charge time, both very much the same, 1.6 hours for both. USB-A's, I already talked about that. Both of them have 2 of them. And then the warranty for both, which I haven't talked about, is 24 months. This is a very nice warranty. Usually you only see about a year. I know Goal Zero products for the lithium power stations have the same. So, nice warranty right there. Now what you'll get in the box are a decent amount of extras. So the River 600, let's check this out. So on the right, my screen covers it, but that is just covering the manual that you get with it, so there's nothing extra there. But you could see that it comes with quite a few different cables. This one I don't know about. I have no idea what this is. I know they're DC 12-volt cables, but I don't understand the numbers here. If you do, let me know in the comments, because I really have no clue. We have the MC4 to XT60. This is for solar charging. Well, that's what it says right there. Then we have the AC and then the car charging cable. That's pretty nice. Some of these companies, they don't give you as many cables, and this is just nice to have. Usually you have to buy a car charging cable for most companies that I've seen, but this one, it comes with all of them. So that's really nice. I like that. Then with the Delta 1300, we have the you get a Delta bag, so you get a nice bag with it. You get the same solar panel charging cable, AC car charging, and then the user manual. So nothing too crazy there, but that's what you get with the system. Some nice add-ons from EcoFlow. So my winner, I am choosing the Delta 1300. This one is all-in-one system. I'm not going to be carrying this thing around everywhere. If I need to put it in my car, I can, to use it for whatever purpose I decide. But this is going to be in my house. I'm not going to be carrying this around a ton. It has more power, both in battery capacity and inverter output. The inverter is insanely powerful. The battery capacity is substantial. So if the power were to go out, I would be able to use it for mostly my fridge, and then for charging basic devices, phones, things like that. Faster charging, or not faster, but fast charging. It's not as fast as the River 600, but then again, it is much bigger. 4 hours maximum, or the least amount of time is 4 hours from solar panels. That's not bad, considering on average, most people get about 5 hours of full sunlight a day. If this thing can recharge fully every day, just in case the worst were to happen and the power were to go out for several days, I'd be able to use this. So then we have the port options. The port options, you get an additional USB-A fast charge. So if my family needed more any USBs to charge phones, things like that, this is available. It also has an additional USB-C. This one, they both have 60-watt PD ports. Now, I don't know if you can go in and out to charge the system as well as have the output. However, having 2 that are 60 watt, I'll take that over one 100 watt, personally. And then the River 600, now obviously this comparison, they're not the same system. They're not that similar in terms of the most foundational elements of a portable power station. They're drastically different in battery capacity, drastically different in power output. However, the main thing with the River 600 is that you have versatility. I went over all those different customizable features with it. You get the application, which is great for for home use. You get the option to get an external battery that just attaches to the bottom of the system. You get a lot of features that are really nice to have if you're looking for that. So that is a very close number 2. And the main reason why I have the Delta up here is because for my personal needs, it just has the power, it has the charging, it has the basics, the foundational elements that That's why it's on top. But the River 600 has a lot of cool additional features that you might be interested in. Maybe you don't need this much power. So that's where I stand. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Also, thank you, as always, for watching this video. Really appreciate you guys, and subscribe and hit the bell if you enjoyed these videos. A couple videos a week. I come out with off-grid technology, mostly solar generators, but I have a ton of different videos on frequently asked questions. So if you're in the, if you're interested, go ahead and hit the bell. Also, like the video if you enjoy it, and then comment. I love hearing your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of this system? Do you agree with me on my final choice? What do you think is best for you? Let me know. I'd like to hear your input, and I learn the most from you guys. So thank you for all those previous comments I've gotten. All right, so I have some additional articles that I'll link in the description below and in the comment section. We have the 5 best small solar generators. So if you're looking for a small system that's similar to the River 600 in terms of battery capacity, it may be a little smaller. I have 5 systems you may be interested in. Go ahead and check that out. I go into detail on those. And then I also have, if you're looking for a bigger system or you're looking for some comparisons with the Delta, I compare it with the Bluetti EB240, and you might be interested in that. The EB240 has a much bigger battery, so check those out in the description. And that's all I have for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.